What's with all the hate on Chelsea? This is really surprising. Why the hell would you hate on a team that recently won the Champions League? Why hate on a team that wears blue as the fucking color for crying out loud? I mean, why hate on a team that has Potter on it? I mean, like you can't start hating on Potter, can you? I mean, Potter hype. Hey, mind you, I'm not a Chelsea fan, and I still see this to be irrelevant. Hi, my name is CWG, and welcome to this rant on why, in Jesus' name, would you hate on Chelsea Football Club? Now, I am one person who has actually been enjoying Chelsea failing for the past season because I mean I'm a rival fan. If I was wearing my Man United shirt, you would tell, but I am a rival fan, and seeing their demise, I don't know if I want to call it a demise, is really satisfying, but at the same time concerning. And how Todd Bowley is basically reversing what took 10 plus years of Roman Abramovich knowledge and money to make that club. Todd thinks he can just go out there and buy any player that he wants when really you have to think about purchases sometimes. Look at Roman Abramovich in his first year. He thought he could just throw money at players and they would come. I mean, he tried throwing money at Ronaldo, Raul, and every single good player, but they didn't come. He knew he had to learn the hard way and build a club from the down up. He built Chelsea. He invested in Chelsea. They won their first, I think, major trophy well and truly into their fourth or fifth year after the takeover. Even let's look at a very good example of a team that also got took over, Manchester City. They threw money but still didn't win anything significant. They were just up in there getting results. That's when they were getting the results and then making the results make players interested in them. That's when they decided to really get have the pulling power that they got. And then also they also had clever scouts. Rather than just going for already made stars, they also looked into the depths and saw stars in the making, or stars that were stars but weren't as stars until they were bought. A good example is Aguero. I mean, Aguero's already scoring goals for a team like Atletico Madrid in La Liga, but Atletico then wasn't as big or recognized as it is now, but they still did that. They convinced him that there's a very good project and he'll be one of the most important players for Manchester City, and he ended up being one of the greatest Premier League foreign players and one of the greatest Manchester City players of all time. I mean, the accolades speak for themselves. You don't build a super team by the end of a season or the first two seasons or by changing manager. You build a super team by trusting the process. Look at Arsenal. Arsenal trusted the process of Mikel Arteta. How the hell you think Arsenal weren't tempted on sacking the guy that finished eighth after the guy ever finished eighth twice and mediocrely just failed to qualify for the Champions League when they were literally in the Champions League running? It was written all over. I mean, yeah, sure, they had an FA Cup, but I mean, I think Arsenal are tired of FA Cups. They've got like what 14 FA Cups, and they added on another one, and the team as well was just looking aged as fuck. They literally lost one of the creative players due to a dispute with the ownership and how they really and his lack of interest. I mean, I'm sorry, Mesut, I love you, but you didn't look interested at all, man. Even on the bench, Gareth Bale had more interest on the bench than you. That speaks something. Speaking of happy retirement, I hope now you can play the. I hope to see you on the Golf Channel, getting it on again with Tiger Woods, getting that PGA Tour. Another accolade, huh? That was a dead joke. Anyway, we then they look at them now this season. They're cooking everyone and they're top of the league. They're practically going to win the league. I hope. I really want them to win the league because they really need this league title. They really need this status because this would be a very good status symbol for them. It would be like now Arsenal is back. I mean, they'll be in the Champions League, they'll be Premier League, they'll be defending champions next season. They're going to that squad is young. It's got good players, and Odegaard might have broken the Arsenal curse of captains, but we never know. But the Arsenal didn't just come to top the league and almost win it just like that. They trusted the process of Mikel Arteta. They had ups and downs. They had so many downs that they were in fucking hell, and they dragged themselves up and then brought themselves back to reality. They brought themselves to the team that they are now, but. Chelsea are, on the other hand, are trying to do everything fast instead of just waiting until they are the last. There you go, to breakfast. I don't even like the fucking song. Anyway, you you see that Chelsea are trying to accelerate their success. I mean, they have a slump to the start of the season, and then they just sack Thomas Tuchel, a guy who took them to literally six fucking finals in the time he was there, and was a manager that was literally told that is going to be given faith, is going to be given faith to, but then the faith wasn't really there. I mean, there was only Judith. And Judith really sent him to the job center. Now he's just at home. He's suffering. I mean, his wife of I don't know how 10 plus years decided to leave him. It's not looking good. That was a wrong time to sack him. Should have waited for a while. Should have really waited for a while. Then they bring Graham Potter, who I feel is David Moyes Part 2. Remember when Manchester United was also tricked into getting a manager who's making a mid-table club look good? Yeah, that didn't end well. It literally ended in 6 months. And Chelsea have actually outlasted that because Graham has had a terrible start to the season, which on the other hand could be blamed to him being trying to be all fancy. Stop playing fucking Gallagher and Mount. Play Loftus Cheek or play Havertz or make something work. I know you don't have Kante, and this really proves something that Kante has been carrying Chelsea's midfield this entire time. We all got tricked that Chelsea's got the best midfield when, in actual sense, it was Kante doing everything in the midfield and the others just filling up the space. Because Kante's been injured this whole season. What has this midfield done? It's done absolutely shit. Midfielders, more like mythfielders. And then you just keep adding on to the pile. What do you think Joao Felix is going to do for this 6 months? Nothing. He's just going to add on to an enormous amount of players have been just brought in on loan, sat on the bench for the rest of the season, and go back home just earning free money. I swear to God. Well, look at Saul. They literally tried this last season and getting someone from Atletico. He was literally a bench warmer. Never played in the Premier League. Never saw him. Forgot he was there after 2 months. It's going to be the same thing for Joao Felix. It's just going to be a very nice break from basically playing defensive football for an entire time and really just coast, be in London, be the London vibe, but not gonna do anything at all. It's gonna score maybe 2 goals, one in the league, one in the cup, maybe, or maybe one in the Champions League, one in the league. But otherwise, he's not gonna have an impact. He's going to be stapled to the bench after a month, and it will be a very stupid loan move. And speaking of, if Chelsea really want to move like a normal club, instead of buying players 6 months after they've literally signed when you had a chance to sign them for cheap, why don't you just scout the player? You see him, right? Get him. Just get Chelsea. Get him. Just get him. Get him. Just get him. And then you're going to, if he fails, fine, no one's gonna care because you'll be like, oh, you just picked him up. It's a risk. When you get youngsters, there's a risk. But if you buy someone and then he flops, that's why they laugh at you. If you just kept Lukaku when you had him, right, before selling him and getting money for free while he kept being sold, if you got him, right, you would have had a stable number 9. He would have been good for you. I mean, for Man United in 2 seasons, he scored almost 40 goals. He was good for Man United. Literally was the brace king, and he would have been that for you, Chelsea. You wouldn't have been struggling with Gonzalo Higuain, Alvaro Morata, praying to keep Diego Costa. You wouldn't be doing that. You would have had a striker for you for the past 10 years holding down the number 9 spot and giving every single striker that comes into the thing a run for his money. Now you have to pray that fucking Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has to work. It doesn't have to be like that, and it didn't have to be like that. Same as Enzo Fernandez. You had a chance to sign him. You had a chance to sign him, but you let him go because you said he's not going to be good for you. Look now, he's a World Cup winner. He's cooking at Benfica, and then you are trying to play a smart game and thinking, I'm not going to play the 120 million release clause. I'm just going to trick him saying, I want you. Then I'm going to like keep reducing the price until I buy him for like 40 million. And then he's obviously going to flop. And then when he flops, you're going to just have another bag of headache because people are just going to talk on you. Just be like, you did this. You bought someone for a 40 to 40 million, or if Benfica forces you 120 million for him just to come and flop in the Premier League. So you the Premier League is one of the richest clubs in the world, right? I'm pretty sure all the teams, including even the bottom teams like Fulham, can afford a 40, 50, 60, even 70 million transfer. Why don't they use scouts? Why don't they just improve their scouts? I mean, just send scouts, bro. You won't have to suffer. So that wasn't. Was this really about Chelsea? It's talking about most of everything, really. Um, if you've lasted this long, thank you so much. And as always, suck my dick.